What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Yo.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yes, it's oddly, seems there's a lack of tenseness in the room.
Yeah, I actually get to have a conversation with my buddies.
Right. Well, if you guys notice as the listener, that second yo-yo that you heard was our good friend Zach, group chat regular, pretty much the fourth
Fourth
Beatle at this point. D is gone. Where's D? Traveling?
New York, Miami, I have no idea.
Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, maybe some Mar-a-Lago.
So D's out. So it's us three today. But we got a lot of news. And actually, we got some good news here that I am excited to hear Zach's take on in particular. But before we do that, Grammys are happening right now.
Yep.
Did anyone watch? They're just airing right now for us.
I didn't get to see anything, but our close friend, Anthony Saleh, dude bro, got a Grammy.
Cleaned house. 3, right?
Did they get 3?
I
just saw the 1.
I thought they got 3 for like best music video, for They Not Like Us. I thought they got 3. Josh, can you fact check me?
But anyways, it's a incredible accomplishment for Anthony. And, he's been in this business for almost 20 years now, I think. It's
rough night
really
for Drake.
Hard. Tough night for Drake. I think it's really hard to actually appreciate the longevity of someone's career.
Right.
And we've seen, obviously, so many people in music. We all know so many people in music, film, acting. And Anthony, honestly, I got to give him his flowers. He just always is, on the forefront of whoever the, biggest thing is.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also got to give him credit. I think an interesting lesson from Anthony that works in business too is I think part of it is longevity, just staying in the game, making smart decisions. But then Anthony now benefits from reputation. So in any industry, there's not a lot of really good, whatever it is, managers, operators, investors, whatever industry. But I feel like now Anthony is benefiting from just having such a good reputation for so long. He's one of the few, in my opinion, really big managers, knows how to handle really big talent, has great relationships, doesn't have any, issues, reputation issues, has treated people fairly.
Yeah. And I think the thing with Anthony that I've seen over the years, because I've traveled with him around the world while he's dealing with crazy things, it's a really tough job.
I know, man. Think about it. I've only traveled with him a handful of times, but at your thing in Stockholm,
bachelor party, yeah,
he was on the phone.
He was outside.
Not only did he have his own issues to deal with, but he was outside on the phone the whole time because at 4 a.m, Stockholm, there's an issue with artists. It's nuts.
I think it's most impressive that it's mostly in the rap industry that he's had this longevity.
I know.
If you look at everybody else, there's so much turnover in everybody else's managers and stuff when it comes to rappers.
Well, and just
to manager,
tie in the violence issues and dangerous. He's been a part of some dangerous shit. It's unlike most businesses. You know what I mean?
No, and he's a venture investor.
Yeah.
On top of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so they won 3 Grammys.
3
Kendrick,
Grammys.
Yeah, they won for Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, and Best Music Video for Not Like Us.
Wow.
Tough night for Drake. And is that the first diss record to ever get a Grammy? Can you also check that, Josh?
So they're going to perform Super Bowl. I have no inside info. I purposely did not ask Anthony for anything because I know he would tell me to fuck off.
Yeah.
Aren't there a lot of prop bets that you can do around we should definitely try.
Because the big question is They Not Like Us, right?
No, they're doing that because they played it on the NFC Championship game.
Because I saw a crazy chess moves theory that was the reason that Drake sued UMG was to also stop it from being played at the Super Bowl. But
Drake looks really sad. I see the Australia post. Like,
it's rough.
I know he's going to make plenty of money, but come on, dude. Like, you got to give it up.
It's rough. I mean, I just think he should have just kind of chilled out and like been.
If he shut up and didn't sue, I think he'd be fine.
If he shut up, didn't sue, and put out some hot music for the spring, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
But he keeps making it worse and worse. And then all of his posts, like you can tell he also like wants the shine. You know, he can't give up the attention. And so he's still trying to like show off on social media and stuff. It's not good.
Yeah, he's in Australia posting random videos.
Yeah, like, I unfollowed him.
Did you?
I did. Because I'll tell you why.
I mean, you don't follow that many people.
I know. And it made, and most of just inside info, most of the people that I follow are muted, except for like you guys, my close friends.
Do you see my posts?
Of course. Literally the only people whose posts I see are like you two, D, like Brian Atlas.
So you see my kids' stuff.
Yeah, of course. But my point is the Drake thing started to bum me out. You know, I'd rather keep good memories of Drake.
Yeah, no, it's a interesting week because it's going to compound as the Super Bowl happens. And I don't know how he's going to handle it.
I would imagine badly.
Poorly, yeah. I would imagine internally in his personal life, he's probably handling it very poorly.
I would think so. And I don't think anyone can get in his ear. That's the problem. No one's giving him advice.
Yeah, because everyone around him relies on him.
Yeah, because he's the bankroll.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, other than like drugs or that, like who else has suffered a worse self-inflicted career move?
Yeah, I think it's pretty rough for him.
When you go from like the height of how big he was.
I have one. Vivek Ramaswamy.
That's
Peace boy.
That's good. He's the Vivek is the Drake of Doge.
Yeah.
Did you see him on Charlemagne?
He was also on Aiden Ross. He's doing
he's doing
a weird round tour right now.
So what happened to him? He got booted from Doge. What do you think happened there?
He basically called Americans lazy, which is like extremely ironic given during the whole H-1B argument online. His point of view was we should have way more H-1Bs because Americans are inherently lazy. And that's why we import people over. Right. I don't think DJT was a huge fan of that.
Yeah, because this is the thing I told, like in a lot of chats with Indians. He thought he was white. And he thought he could talk like he was a white guy in America. This is a white country. And all my Indian friends are all MAGA as fuck.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, you realize we're still brown. Like,
that's
we're not
interesting.
white.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just didn't obviously think about it.
And then he realized that he's not white.
But also it must be a little intoxicating being around like that Trump and even Elon energy. Because, you know, Elon says whatever the fuck comes to his mind.
But he's white.
Right. And Trump obviously is very, controversial. Like it must be intoxicating to, be like, oh yeah, fuck it. I'm going to get down with this strategy. Fuck Americans.
Yeah, I think it was a good lesson for Indians. And I'm happy D's not on this podcast. That Indians need to realize, like, you aren't in the inner circle.
But also, I will say, like, I respect your perspective on it, but I also will say that, like, you can't, no matter who it is, you can't, when it comes to Trump, he is Mr. America first. Like, that's his thing.
Can't hate on Americans.
Yeah. Like, even if, I don't know if, Ron DeSantis was like, yeah, Americans kind of suck. I don't think you can't get too high on your opinion and go not America first. That's the one consistency you can't bail on in that group.
So he's running for governor of Ohio.
Yeah.
Can you get the pulse?
I will.
Do they want an Indian guy that says Americans suck?
Yeah.
as their governor.
I will. I bet by the time that comes up, they'll forget about that. And I think the proximity to MAGA will probably help, depending on how the next 2 years go. I would assume he gets it. I mean, at this point, he's just too well known.
Yeah, he's pretty famous now.
He's
just
famous,
from the
but he's
proximity
brown.
and doing all the pods. And we'll see. I'll see. I'll try to take a temperature gauge, but it also depends on how everything goes in between now and then. If these,
I think it was a good lesson. I think it was a good lesson for Indians.
That's amazing. That's an amazing take, but that's a valid. You can have that take.
I can say it.
Will not.
I can say it.
Right. Let me just say this too. I want to, as your friend, I want to call you out in a friendly way, and
Okay.
and point out a moment that I want to do two things. I want to point out something that you were wrong on, and I also want to talk about how annoying this thing is to me. Not your thing. You'll see what I mean. So you forecasted the weekend after the fires that it would last 2 weeks and then we would never hear about it again. No help, no aid, no support. Everyone would forget. Not only, I watched a little bit of the Grammys before we started. The whole fucking Grammys might as well be like a fire donation relief concert. Like to the point where I think it's tacky. Like it's Trevor Noah, like literally 4 times during every segment, asking people to scan the QR code on their TV screen and donate. And it just feels like, what are you doing? Like there's all these rich, fancy artists, and you're asking the viewers to donate. It feels a little tone deaf, but I will say, man, they're playing montages. They're playing clips. They're playing Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars dedicated a song. I mean, for whatever reason, this fire thing, they are not, it lasted way longer than 2 weeks. That's what I'm.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch the Grammys, so I can't speak to it.
It's crazy.
So it's good knowledge that you were able to see it.
Yeah.
My point specifically was just with friends who are actually affected.
Right.
You kind of just retreat after 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah, I'm just surprised that, and once again, obviously I think it's a good thing to support, but like it's so, I guess probably because it's LA and probably because it affected, we're talking about the entertainment industry and the people producing all of these shows and things, but it is nonstop donation requests and montages of fire.
But
That's not surprising, right? It's the Grammys.
It's also what like Hollywood does, right? It's like anytime there's this big thing that happens in the world, they're all like, I think the really funny one was when all the movie stars did all the COVID.
Oh my
like all
God,
the COVID sing-alongs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like every time there's this major world shaping event, Hollywood always feels like they have to talk about it for some reason.
It's weird, man. The way that they're peddling, I'm glad they're supporting the fire, but the way that they're like peddling a QR code on the screen, and then like Trevor Noah's like reading like clearly, stage like, oh, IBM just donated. Looks like, oh, CBS, the network doing this show, they just donated. Like it's just,
right.
Yeah, my sense of it always is around this stuff is like it's much more projecting than it is them actually caring.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's like they're worried about what people would say if they didn't do this.
Yeah.
So they actually go way over the top to like make sure that nobody can say, oh, you guys don't care about the fires.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing that Hollywood always tends to do when there's some like catastrophic world event that happens.
It's funny. I don't know if it's just me, in my opinion or what, but it just feels like with the way that kind of the perspective and the sentiment is kind of changing, like those Hollywood shenanigans start to feel a little more like they stand out a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying that it's not
like virtue signaling. I think there's a lot of virtue signaling.
It's not authentic.
Yeah, look, I think people are definitely donating. I'm glad they're doing it for a good cause, but I think that people, like Zach's saying, like Hollywood loves to lean into a good cause to make all of them look really noble and virtuous.
I've had conversations with friends that are obviously affected, and they'll say if it wasn't Palisades and it was just Altadena, no one would give a fuck.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably true because I think that like I said, literally the guy producing the fucking Grammys, probably his house burned down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All the artists, they literally had like, they opened up with like, here's an LA duo whose house and studio and all their original recordings burned down. Introducing, blah, blah, blah. Like the whole thing is, but yes, you're right. It's because they're directly affected.
You know what my favorite version of this, which was the one that felt the most real, and I think that probably a lot of people feel this way, is when Hurricane Katrina happened and on TRL, Kanye West was like, George Bush doesn't care about
that was
black
real.
people.
That was real. By the way, everyone saw Kanye's appearance, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think he was invited, right? He just showed up.
Him out.
So apparently he got kicked out, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, he's been slowly, his wife is just like.
It's his wife, right?
Yeah.
She showed up naked?
I mean, essentially, she had like a see-through, I don't even know what you call it, but like, yeah.
Did you guys see his tweets last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went on a bender.
He went on like a manic episode it was great. It was pretty funny, to be honest.
Yeah, he's just, man, that guy.
So if you're not invited, you're Kanye, so the security just sees you're Kanye and you just get to walk right in?
Well, yeah, I think you see that it's Kanye. He pulls up to the thing. You see it's Kanye. He walks in. But then I think there's probably a lot of problems. Number one, not invited. Sure. Number two, your wife is literally naked. Like that's a huge problem. And number three, I don't know. There's Taylor Swift. Apparently Taylor Swift arrived right after he got kicked out. I'm sure there's just issues. I'm sure there's a lot of issues if you're trying to produce that show. If he does just randomly show up. But,
but he's also about to drop a new album, right? So to me, this feels like a sort of marketing thing to get more eyes, like the tweets, right. And then this, and then it all seems like, he's very good at marketing. So it seems like that this is probably, trying to get people get their attention back on him again.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know what's going on, but what I do know is that he is so good at being Kanye. Like he just the whole Grammys are happening. The number one trending topic is Kanye. And apparently he wasn't even invited. And now apparently he's going to go tonight on Kai Cenat's stream and probably just,
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Like Kai Cenat posted him talking to John Monopoly, who's Kanye's guy. And John Monopoly invited him to Kanye's house tonight to stream.
That's amazing. I'll watch it.
Yeah, of course. And the clips will be, the other brilliant thing that's happening right now is all of these companies caught on to Kai and Speed really mainly. And they're obviously paying them to live stream, going to their stuff. So these guys took over WWE Raw over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that or not.
The Royal Rumble?
Yeah, whatever. I'm not that familiar with WWE, but I think they're doing it on Netflix, like a Raw. It's like a multi-week thing. Yeah, yeah. But and then Kai was at the Grammys live streaming. Like they're live streaming the whole thing. So they're on Twitch or whatever they're on, streaming them, streaming Kai going to the Grammys and running into Kanye, running into, it's brilliant. But it's also obviously, CBS has caught on to the power of the stream.
So you think the networks have understood that these kids are the future?
Yeah, because there's zero way. They have a little mini film crew with them. So there's zero way they would be allowed to do that. And, they figured out how to, they call it IRL streaming, but you stream you're just streaming on your computer, you've seen everyone stream, but they can do it now remotely with cameras and broadcast it. But it's the same thing. You have your little chat, it's on Twitch, whatever. So it's literally just Kai Cenat and his experience at the Grammys streamed on Twitch. But yeah, they would definitely have to
get that approved. Or whatever.
And I doubt
it's also it's like the natural evolution of what the big events used to do, which was they would let celebrities just randomly interview people on the red carpet. And it wouldn't be typically people who are quote unquote reporters, but they would just be kind of bopping around, asking people sort of crazy questions.
So Zach, I know a lot of these streamers. Where's the trend going? We know the big ones, Kai Cenat, Aiden Ross, Speed. And how are companies thinking about it?
You know what's actually interesting is I think that a lot of these streamers maybe either they're conscious about it or not conscious about it, are taking cues from the Fantasy Factory days.
Right.
So they're building their own like massive warehouses where you can do like a bunch of different things. And then like this weekend, Aiden Ross threw a boxing event at a warehouse that he had built that is like a part gym, part boxing ring, part like streaming rooms to do gambling streams and stuff. So what I think that they're doing is they're building these like all inclusive areas where they can just sort of like do modular cool things. And then the other big thing is, I think Speed sort of broke the seal on this, but it's like traveling to other countries and like just walking around and interacting with the culture is super big. Yeah. And that's what like that's what gotten Speed so big is he literally just trying to go to every country in the world. And then when he's there, he's like,
and people recognize him.
People recognizing him, but what they're really smart about is they're doing collaborations with the big local streamers there. So there's, the biggest streamer in Colombia or the biggest streamer in Argentina or whatever. They're always sure to link up, and then they just go and like have a day. And so it's like you're cross-pollinating the audiences. Those are the two big trends I've seen.
Right. It's nuts. The power of those kids is nuts. And just
they're also just making so much money.
So much money. And just like anything, those are just the top two. There's a bunch of littler ones that people are still really passionate about. They're just smaller.
And there's a bunch that you've never even heard of. Like there's this one guy in, I think it's Colombia. I forget what his name is, but he's the biggest streamer in South America. And he has like as big of an impact as Kai Cenat does in America, but in South America. Right. And he could, any company in South America wants to work with him, sell products through him, et cetera.
It's crazy.
What's really kind of overlooked is there's a version of Kai Cenat in every country of the world, basically.
Right. It's nuts.
Yeah, we just don't see it that much here, but.
Okay, I need your guys' help on another thing. Complete topic jump. I realized yesterday how ignorant I am to sports. I know I've said that a lot on this pod. It's the truth. I saw this trade. So Luka coming to the Lakers. I saw the internet just going nuts. Like I've seen, top 3, monumental trades in sports history. I've seen, there's a trend on TikTok where girls are filming their boyfriends, like freaking out, calling all their friends. They're like, is anyone else's boyfriend doing this right now? This, shook the sports world. Luka's coming to the Lakers. Why? Is that because Luka is such a big star? Why would Dallas trade him, or what's the?
So a few things. Luka Doncic is a top 2 player in the NBA.
Top 2?
Top 2.
Sheesh.
So it's Jokic, and then it's him, and then SGA, you can argue. So, but there's no discussion outside those top 3.
Yep. Okay.
And the fact that the Lakers got him is absolutely insane. They didn't even give up that much. And it's just like the Lakers are the Lakers.
Right.
Like it's Tinseltown. You get the next star. We got LeBron. We had Kobe. We had Shaq. We had Magic.
Right.
Now we get Luka. Luka's 25 years old. And there's, reports of him being out of shape, whatnot, drinking a little too much sugar tea.
Right.
LeBron will fix that.
They said he's 270 pounds right now, which is
insane.
Thick.
Even at 270, he's still a top 2 player in the league.
Yeah, he's great. My favorite joke from all this on Twitter was Luka's first triple-double is going to be an in and out.
That's good. That's good.
But it's...
but he's like the face honestly, of the Mavericks?
Yeah, he was the face of the Mavericks. He's one of the faces of the league.
Like, what are they doing?
So to put it in context, the Lakers, I honestly was a little nervous. Like LeBron leaves in a year or two.
Right.
Like, what are we going to do? And now we have a generational talent coming. And he's 25 years old.
Right. Was it a lie?
So
I saw a rumor that LeBron was going to the Warriors. That's a lie.
I mean, there are rumors that LeBron might get traded.
Damn.
So I don't know.
Yeah. But what you're saying is even without LeBron, Luka coming, it still puts the Lakers in.
Yeah, he's a draw.
Yeah.
That's all the Lakers want, right? They want the courtside to be famous people and billionaires.
Right.
And Luka draws that. Kobe barely comes out, or, obviously before he passed to Laker games, he came out to see Luca.
Right. Okay, so I get it. So the shocker is like, why? What the fuck? Like, how did the Lakers get him? Why did Dallas trade him? What the fuck? It's just a crazy, unexpected.
The psyops. You want the psyops conspiracy?
Please.
NBA ratings are down.
Right.
The Lakers are the team.
Yeah, that's fair.
You got to get the new face.
I like that.
That's a psyops.
That makes sense.
What do you think, Zach?
I think that's 100% right.
Yeah, I'm into that. That makes a lot of sense.
Because the trade from I listened to 2 NBA podcasts this morning, early morning, and no one understands how the Lakers got Luka.
Right. And like,
but then did you see on Twitter there was all of these like rumors that there's problems with him and the management? Like,
yeah, but that's all bullshit, dude.
I don't know. I don't know what's real or fake anymore, but I did see that there was a lot of people saying they were pulling up old clips of like the GM like snubbing him on a dap up and like a bunch of other random stuff. But who knows? Could just be salacious gossip.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fuck yeah. I mean,
the NBA has a $75 billion deal. I think a media deal, right? Is it $75 billion?
Yeah, I think so.
And the ratings are down.
Yeah, I like that theory.
Luka to the Lakers.
That's a good theory.
Great.
Yeah, I like that.
Adam Silver made the call. Get him for nothing.
And it's yeah. Okay, got it. Totally got it. Okay, next thing. What's going on with Deepseek? What's the update?
We talked about it. We talked about it a lot on the last pod. Yeah. I'd love to hear Zach's take.
I think it's over, right? It's like it's the Palisades fire of technology right now. Like nobody really cares anymore. Right. So my sense of it is that I think that the whole narrative around it was fake. Like, yes, of course, I'm the resident psyop person. So the fact that a hedge fund put this out should be like a red flag for everybody. If the news is sort of emanating from Deepseek saying that they only took $5 million to develop this model, right, that seems wild. And they like explicitly knew what that would do to all of the AI stocks in America. And it's, a spin out of a hedge fund, like a massive hedge fund in China.
Right.
It seems to me that there's a pretty aligned incentive for them to not be telling the entire truth here.
Right.
And then my sense of it is that it is definitely not, it did not take $5 million worth of GPU power to develop this model.
Yeah.
I think Alexander Wang in Davos said that it probably took 50,000 H100s, which seems a little bit more realistic to me. And then I think I heard you guys talking about it on the last pod, but there's like 15 to 25% or something of all Nvidia GPUs go to Singapore.
Yeah.
There's no major LLM or real AI business in Singapore to speak of.
Right.
And so it seems very likely that those chips are just ending up elsewhere.
Right.
And so I think that once people started putting the pieces together, that the narrative was probably a little bit tainted coming from the Chinese side, which why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Like what benefit do they have of being honest about any of this? Right. It doesn't seem like there's a lot. So I don't know. I think that the tech world was kind of reeling from it. And then, there's a pretty fair bounce back on Nvidia. That just got wiped out in the last 2 hours.
I know, what the fuck?
And
Nvidia's down big.
That's tariffs?
Yeah, it's tariffs.
I think the whole market is tariffs.
Yeah.
I mean even
crashed. Crypto's getting smoked.
It kills me how much crypto, it does not operate the way that it should. Like it just operates as an index.
Well, you know why that is because a lot of crypto is now controlled by the same people that run the indexes. Right. BlackRock, Franklin Templeton,
right,
Fidelity. All of these people have large Bitcoin, ETH ETFs. And so they have to go risk on, risk off at the same time as all of their other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And they control so much volume now that it's just, they have to, they view their assets as a portfolio and they have to like trim things in unison and then add to them in unison.
Right.
So you get these synchronous moves between things that were because it used to just be like weird cyberpunks on the internet who were like, fuck banks. We never want to, screw the real monetary system.
Right.
And that was the reason that it was so decoupled, because the people holding it had primarily a different belief set.
Right.
You know, I talked about this on the last pod. Zach, I'd love to hear your opinion. If the CCP spent $5 billion, whatever the number is, because we know it's not $6 million, doesn't matter because they open sourced it. So they basically unleashed the industry.
It does matter, because I think what people were really worried about is that there's a way to develop these models for way less than the American companies were basically charging. So it's like OpenAI, XAI, all of these companies had to raise billions and billions of dollars. And what the Chinese were saying is it actually cost us 1/100th of all of the money that you put into this industry to develop something similar. I think that there's going to be a lot more open sourcing of models in the future. Llama, I think, is open sourced. Like, I don't think it's that much of an open sourcing issue. I think it's cost, like inference cost and development cost of these models is the primary thing, where America looked like it had its pants around its ankles for a couple days. And it was like, you guys overspent.
Yeah,
by
the
a factor
emperor
of
has
100.
no clothes,
Yeah,
right?
it's like you guys way overspent. The whole market that you're raising, every venture capital company in AI is probably inflated by 95x or 95% just because we did it for that much cheaper. So that's what I think it really was.
Right.
And then also, if you only needed $5 million of GPUs to develop a model like that, why is Nvidia making so much money?
It's pretty amazing to me, like,
I think
getting a little older and paying attention to this stuff a little more, like just how easy it is to completely shake. I mean, how much market cap was lost last week on Monday?
Yeah, like $1 trillion.
Right. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. It's not really.
Did you hear Travis on All In?
No, I heard him at the All In Summit, but not.
He was on the last episode.
No.
Did you hear him?
I heard most of it. Yep.
And what he said, which I thought was pretty insightful. So he obviously launched Uber China. And he said the pace that they copy is incredibly like fast. And he said you reach kind of a point where they're copying, and then they're innovating better than you. So once they copy, they can innovate better. And I feel like this is what he was saying, that this is what happened with Deepseek.
Yeah.
He's like, all you have to do is copy, but then you can actually be better. And he said all these examples of like food delivery, how they're way far advanced than America is.
Right.
He's like, if you go to an office in Shanghai or Beijing, you can literally just get your food from a locker. And he's like, you can't do that in America.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I think that if you think about all these big companies, so much of their budget is R&D. And so it's like what the Chinese are doing is they're saying, okay, we'll let Americans spend all these R&D dollars to figure out some great product, and then we'll just take that great product and build on it from there. It's like they're moving their start line way up in the race.
Yeah. That's literally what he said on what Travis Kalanick said. He's like, yeah, we build the innovation, but when they copy, they're doing it better than we are.
Yeah, but then they can start their R&D dollars at like a really already super far developed point.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they get the benefit of, not having to sort of like to get from 0 to 1 on most of this stuff.
Yeah, I just it blows my mind that we have built this way of operating up until now, where like we just let that happen. Like, I know that it's not all controllable. I know that there's a lot they're going to be able to copy, but it just feels like we don't care at all about our IP protection. And we just,
there's no recourse I don't mean to make this like a political thing, but for a long time, there was no real recourse. We would find Chinese people spying on like various university programs, like deep research programs in universities and at the top companies in America. And like the worst thing that would happen to these people is they'd get deported.
Right.
There was no retaliation. There was no real oversight. It was just kind of like, oh, we got you. You can't do this anymore. Right. Go home.
And that's all that we really do. Like, we innovate best by far. We don't produce best. They're beating us at that in general, not on all things, but like we innovate better than anyone in the world, but we're just like giving that away. That's our thing.
Yeah, no, it's bad. We innovate and then they make it better and then they own it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think happened in this Deepseek example.
Yeah.
I think basically they copied American models. It seems pretty obvious, especially if you play around with the models a little bit. You can ask them like very specific anti-CCP questions.
Yeah.
And the model will actually spit out the answer, but then retroactively it'll go back and be like, "Oh, I can't talk about this."
Really?
Yeah, like it'll like delete this and be like, "Yeah."
No, they delete it.
So it's very clear that the model outputs are American,
Right.
and that there's like a layer on top of it that is, you know,
So it's just a
Chinese
shitty
where
wrapper
they're
on top of our shit.
pretty much.
And then they just
that's my sense of it.
Yeah, that seems to be everyone's sense of it. I mean, from everything I watched and listened to over the last week, that seems to be the general, like everyone kind of calmed down and settled back to that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like blown over in Silicon Valley. Like not that many people are worried about it, to be honest.
I know that because I've talked to a handful of folks, but I think they're wrong.
What do you think?
I think this is an existential threat.
You know why I don't think it's an existential threat? Because I don't know if large American companies, maybe like the earliest stages of startups, like people at Y Combinator and stuff that are really trying to conserve cash. But I don't think that well-funded American startups are comfortable putting any real data into a model like Deepseek, and therefore would not really want to use it.
Is that your fear on it? You're saying about like it being adopted and the privacy concerns?
No, not privacy concerns.
He's saying because it's cheaper, more people will start to use it.
Exactly. And so this, I could be completely wrong, but this really reminds me because I was an adult professional during the Great Financial Crisis.
Yeah.
When bankers came up and said, like, there's nothing to worry about. The home prices always go up. Don't worry.
Right.
We're all going to be fine. And then everything collapsed.
Right.
And I feel like Silicon Valley is going through that right now. And I'm not, that's just my prediction.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to be right. I could be totally wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I don't want people to lose money. But it feels similar to like Lehman saying, we're fine, doesn't matter, home prices are going to keep going up. And that's like AI.
Right.
I think that there's like a duality to this, which is you are right in some sense, which is I think that the tech companies need to be more conscious. Like all of the tech companies basically were like, we have to reach this ridiculous level of scale to make this work.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. It's going to take insane amounts of GPU capacity and manufacturing ability to get this there. I think that they were never even thinking about the fact that there was a chance you could do it for cheaper. Like they weren't really thinking about like, oh, maybe there's a different way to approach this.
Right.
And I think that even though this might not necessarily be real, they're now more conscious of the fact that the way that they were approaching it and the tens and hundreds of billions of dollars they were raising just might not be the only way to get it done. Right. And so I think that there's probably a bunch of people after this week who are now saying, well, we should probably just make sure that we can't do it in a different way. Right. That's like drastically cheaper.
Right.
What's worrisome to me, and Zach, obviously, please comment, that big tech was caught blindsided. It's very clear. You know, people at Facebook, Google, they didn't know that this was possible.
Yeah, but it's also like it's also the information that we're being the information we're being fed about this, I'm not sure is real. So 50,000 H100s.
No, but
it's like $5 billion.
So Zach, separate the capital, because I believe the capital is in the billions to build Deepseek, right?
Yeah.
But they gave it away for free.
Yeah, I think all models are going to get given away for free at some point.
So then what's the foundational model worth?
The foundational model is like what is worth what you can build on top of it, I guess. So it's like, what is Shopify worth in and of itself? Not really that much, but all of the businesses on top of it and all of the integrations that you build into it.
Yeah, that's the take I heard that made a lot of sense, is that like it's changing the perspective a little bit. The perspective is changing, not necessarily because of DeepSeek, where like it's not necessarily that Chat GPT just for its own sake is where all the value is. It's all that can be built on top of what they have is where the real value is.
I mean, that's what I said on the last pod, that basically technology became Shopify.
Yeah.
Anyone can build anything.
Yeah.
You want to launch a brand, you go on Shopify, you launch it in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, if you want a technology company, you launch it in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the way I look at it is like what Stripe did for sort of financial payments, or what Shopify did for online transactions. It becomes this sort of enablement layer for a variety of different things to be built on top of. And maybe the mechanics of how the underlying large language models actually make money changes. Instead of you just paying like a flat rate to access these models, right. Maybe there's a world in which they're more collaborative with the types of businesses that are built on top of it. But I do think that it is a seminal moment for a lot of these companies to think about, is the way that we're approaching this as a business viable long-term, which might change, and it probably will and should change.
Yeah, I think sales and marketing are the key skills in the near future. I was wrong 4 years ago saying everyone should become an engineer and code.
Wow.
That's gone. It's, can you talk to people? Can you get sales? Can you get contracts?
You know what I think it is that's like slightly more nuanced than this is I actually think it's curation. Like people who can curate will be the winners in this next wave. And what I mean by that is like your ability to create experience, whether that be digitally or physically or however you think about it, in like a way that resonates with consumers, I guess, which is marketing is a form of this, but your ability to like curate experience from end to end.
It's really creativity as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like anything creative or human to human interaction. I just don't see, like, I don't see you being able to say like, I want to make a shoe brand. I want it to be whatever. Give me, you know, the name, the color scheme, the branding, I don't know. I just don't see that.
Don't you think it's completely antithesis of what we've experienced with young folks in the last 5 years, that now the skills that matter are being able to talk to people, being able to communicate, be able to creative? Because the last 5 years, and COVID was obviously a big part of it, everyone just kind of, you know, went to their room and just typed. But
one thing I will say that's not so opposite of that is I do think that like communicating to people can also mean something different. So like we just talked about those streamers, like, you know, we've all met a lot of like internet personalities, vloggers, things that are really awkward in person. But knowing how to communicate to audiences online are some of the people that have sold the most product in the last 5 years. And so maybe that's also the skill. You can still be a super weird guy or gal, but the art form of knowing how to communicate and connect with humans online with your voice and video and whatever, I think is something that, you know, maybe it's more that, you know?
Yeah, but it's also interesting because what you just brought up, like some of the biggest streamers and the biggest podcasters, I've heard from people that have met them, and I don't know any of these guys, they're really awkward in person. Yeah. But in front of the camera, they're like a star.
It's just
because you're not talking to another person when you're all behind the camera. You're just looking at a camera.
It's also a skill that's not like real. Like being able to like perform like a normal person on video like this, like talking to your screen, is its own skill. I would almost compare it to like a musical artist that is like on the stage is so captivating and just can get an arena full of people's attention, but is like weird and antisocial in person. That's a more common thing that we know. Like, I feel like it's like a skill that's different than human to human conversation necessarily.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And it's just weird that some of the biggest stars,
a lot of them
can't talk in person.
A lot of them. Yeah.
That's always kind of been the case, right? Like an example is like maybe like Prince or somebody like this, who's like this weird recluse who like never wanted to like talk to anybody effectively.
Right.
But to your point, drama, like when he got on stage and when he was in a stadium, he was like the most charismatic, interesting, captivating person of all time. You know who I think is actually a really, just to sort of tie a bow on everything we've been talking about, you know, a person who I think is really embodies basically all aspects of this is Brian Johnson, the Don't Die guy.
Yeah, I just watched his Netflix thing. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I did. I find him, I've spent a little bit of time with him. He's not the most, he's like definitely like, you know, somewhere on the spectrum and like not the most easy person to talk to in person, but his Twitter presence, his ability to like garner a community of people who are also interested in biohacking and longevity, his ability to sort of shift the paradigm of how we think about health and stuff like this, all via the internet, and more specifically using large language models to amplify what he's doing in a lot of ways by, you know, reading his test results, giving him new ideas about ways to extend his life, helping him read through these super large esoteric research papers about random therapeutics that, you know, have been overlooked or whatever. I think that is where this all goes. It's like you get a bunch of people like Brian Johnson finding like a specific slice of, you know, community and like interesting things to think about that's like augmented by AI and like hypercharged by the internet.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Okay, let's say this. It's similar to this topic, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but the other massive news, and now poor Nvidia is just getting put through the ringer. You know, last week it was Deepseek. This week it's looks like it's going to be tariffs. But, you know, these tariffs are going into effect. And, you know, let me think of at least my opinion on this. I don't think we know yet exactly what the outcome will be, but the market is panicking. It looks like crypto, everything's down. I'm sure tomorrow is going to be a pretty brutal day. Is that all? I mean, that's mostly panic over the tariffs, right?
Yeah, I think it's just more uncertainty that, you know, spooks markets because we don't know what the secondary effects of all these policies are and whether they're right or wrong. They're pretty drastic.
Yeah. Because also Canada and Mexico are retaliating.
Yeah, they're retaliating. And if you think about it just kind of objectively, I think consumers in America are going to pay more for goods.
Right.
Given that there's a 25% tariff. So inflation will ramp up. I think all basic goods will ramp up. And I don't know what the calculus is here. So we'll see.
Right.
Have either, I'm guessing this is a no, but have either of you read Art of the Deal by Donald J. Trump?
No.
So he
not since
basically, he basically outlines this exact strategy, which is, well, I think that the market is underestimating the efficacy of this, which is basically he wants a specific outcome. So what he does is he basically goes way over the top on trying to get this. He like really just goes way above and beyond. So let's say, you know, he wants 10% tariffs, but instead he'll inflict 50% tariffs right off the bat. So that when these companies are put into a corner and feel like they have to capitulate at some point, 10% seems like an amazing, like both sides have won. Like he does this thing where he like goes way over the top and then drags it back to like actually where he wanted to start with, so that he makes it feel like, you know, in this deal, both sides have won to a certain extent. It's a dangerous game to play, but I think that like the overarching macro thing here is there's going to be a lot more volatility short term. But over the long term, this is America's a net beneficiary of this in a lot of ways.
I do agree with that.
No, I mean, I think there's going to be near-term pain, and we're seeing it real time. The markets are showing it. Nasdaq's down 2.5% in the pre-market, and you know we don't know what the consequences are of his policies, but we'll see. But
yeah, I like the action. I mean, I don't like, you know, the pain, but the action of it is, it's just also like, you know, there's Canada is Trudeau's trying to rally Canadians to buy only Canadian goods and not travel to the US. And it's just, look, once again, like for the sport of it all and just I don't know what you want to call it. Once again, it's almost like a business lesson or a exercise. Like just watching this play out is going to be really interesting. Because from what I see, we have so much leverage that we just give away. We just don't exercise our own leverage. And I think maybe doing that for the first time is going to feel really brutal. And obviously all the media and everyone's freaking out and the market's going to freak out. But it just bothers me that we are in such a strong position globally, even like we talked about with China stealing our IP. Like we have so much fucking leverage and we don't use it. We just give it away. We have trade deficits. We give away IP. We do all this stuff. And it just doesn't make sense to me. I wish someone could explain it to me why we operate this way that makes sense. It seems to me like just incompetence, but
I don't think it's an incompetence thing. I think that like the political apparatus was primarily focused on this like non-realistic version of globalism,
right?
That like everybody sort of drank the Kool-Aid on, which was we can all live in harmony. None of us, all of our lives can suck a little bit,
right,
so that we're all just like can play together nicely. That was kind of like the calculus that was happening. And now we have a person in power who's like, no, life is not going to suck in America.
Right.
Like we want to, we are going to maximize the best thing possible for us. And so I think that I've had this thesis for a while, which is that like nationalization is going to become like really, really big again in the next couple of years. Yeah. And you're already starting to see it in Europe with the pushbacks on sort of like immigration there. And obviously with all the ICE raids and stuff here, like I think that countries that have the power are going to sort of pursue this as a political stance moving forward. And I think that there's a lot of companies that are good because it was basically sort of like a socialism for economies around the world.
Right. But like we're the one giving the most.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's we were basically backstopping a lot of these other countries by virtue of just wanting to play nice and be this globalist, inclusive society.
Here's what I don't get, Zach, and I know this is probably trying to make too big of a connection here, but this is something that bothers me is when it comes to like war for the sake of us having financial benefit, i.e. oil or things, we're very aggressive and we don't play nice. But then there's this other like, no, but like with all the other countries, we just give everything away. Like it just feels like two different personalities. It feels bipolar.
Yeah, it's just because there's so many different competing interests internally in like America. Right. And one of the big ones is obviously the military industrial complex. Right. And the military industrial complex doesn't really make money unless those assets are being used in some way, shape or form.
That is just a clusterfuck. It just seems like in some ways we're fucking ruthless when it comes to money and world global domination. And then in some ways we just give away all of our fucking advantage.
I mean, I had a conversation with someone that has a defense budget and they approached the person I know, said, I have $25,000 a week to spend.
Oh yeah. I remember you said that. Tell me what to spend. Yeah. Okay. How about this? This feels exciting to me. We've talked about a lot, the Temu and Shein loophole, the de minimis duties loophole that they use, which is essentially, if the shipment is under a certain amount, I forget the amount off the top of my head, you don't pay duties on
$800.
$800. So that's how a lot of these people like Temu and Shein have been able to charge such incredibly low prices, shipped directly from manufacturers, stuff like that. They've really exploited that loophole to the fullest and hurt American businesses because you just can't compete. There's no way to compete. It looks like Trump's going after that.
It's a great thing.
This is a good policy.
Yeah, this feels good.
I think that the thing that the de minimis tariffs affected the most was actually American small businesses.
They're huge.
If you're like a mom and pop general store where you're selling everything from pots and pans to, weird knickknacks, like there's zero chance that you can sell any of those things for less than you can get them from China for.
Right.
And the majority of it is because these things weren't taxed effectively.
Yep.
And so a lot of it, like, you being from Ohio, I'm sure you drive through some of these like small towns in America these days, and it's just like a Walmart and a Target, and every other small business is basically
that's it.
on its last leg or out of business.
That's it.
And I think a lot of it is actually due to this. You know, you could say that stuff like Amazon and too is also obviously contributing, but a lot of stuff on Amazon also benefits from this.
But I will tell
it's
you
like
this.
weird things drop ship from China.
I will tell you this, at least, like, also, so some of the biggest news from Ohio in the last few years was that Amazon was building a fulfillment center in the town I'm from, and everyone was getting jobs and becoming Amazon drivers. So at least, even though I know people don't like the whole Amazon thing, at least they're building jobs in the country, as opposed to Tian and Shimu are not.
No.
Yeah, no, it's 1.3 billion shipments annually are under this de minimis accord.
And I'll tell you, like, I've talked about this many times, but even my business, it's simple. They all have knockoffs. There's countless knockoffs, and you can just copy it and put it up on Temu and Shein and Alibaba and all these things, de minimis it over here to the US. It's just really tough. I don't understand how a very small, like you said, Zach, mom and pop or Ohio or startup, it's impossible. And it's all just being shipped off to China. It's just money to China. There's no jobs coming here because of it. There's no, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a great policy. I think we've talked about this for years now, right? We've talked about the last 4 years that there's this loophole that these companies are able to ship to U.S. customers for negligible amounts.
Right. Can I ask you this? And what actually, so like, did they close it or they're taking a look at it? What's the actual up-to-date news?
It's an executive order. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Like, I don't know how executive orders work. Like,
are executive orders real?
Yeah, executive orders are real. I think that that Congress can basically go and say, hey, like, we vote against this, but I think that the president can just put things in place.
Or the courts or
and
things,
so long as you know, Congress and the Senate don't want to fight it.
I got you.
That they just kind of go forward.
As long as judges don't get involved.
Yeah. Supreme Court.
I mean, America first, man. This is great. Did you guys see that they're fucking blocking off the 101? Did we talk about that? The whole 101's blocked off.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be insensitive about it all, but it's like, why are you flying the flag of the country that you don't want to go back to? Like, it's all Mexican flags and stuff, which is straight. I mean, I think that the ICE stuff is good because you're actually getting a lot of criminals off the street, and unfortunately, in that, you're also going to get a bunch of people who probably didn't have that much to do with committing crimes and stuff. Right. And it's like not a perfect system, but I think directionally, it's a net positive thing for us, since things were getting so crazy here for a while.
It's just wild to see. It's like you said, it's wild to see the flags of other countries. It's wild to see, like, shutting down highways and things. I mean, it's just, once again, I also don't want to sound insensitive or even not even talking about my stance on any of these things, but to see, like, when you're scrolling through TikTok and it's like Hamas, protesters, and, there are people, I'm sure it's not all of them, all the Palestine protesters, but there are people saying, like, we love Hamas. Like, people are saying that. And then these, shutting down the 101 and all these ICE protests. And it's a wild.
Did you see the Chinese girl who got deported for setting up all of these Hamas protests? These Hamas rallies.
She's a Chinese national. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a wild time, man.
Things are weird.
It's weird.
Yeah. Things are weird. It's psyop
city,
like,
man.
Dude, yeah, psyops are going crazy right now. I think that there's like an insane a lot of my friends call it sort of like information war.
Yeah.
That's happening above most people's head.
Yeah.
That's like so hard to comprehend. But like there is so much back and forth, underhanded, crazy shit happening.
So we can all agree that all of big tech has been infiltrated by
100%.
Yeah.
Not
Chinese
only that,
and Middle East.
but the best universities in the world too, and in the country.
So how do you think Zuck wakes up and is like, wait, who's in my company that's giving my secrets? Like, how does that work? He knows it's happening.
I can't fathom that. I can't wrap my head around that.
I think that there's some level of internal auditing that you have to do, where you have to go and basically be like, do you remember this this Elon thing that he did way back in the day, where he was like, I'm going to send a different email out to each person, and there's going to be a space different. And then if that email gets sent to the press, I'll know who's the person who leaked it. I think there's a version of this that you kind of have to do on some level with your code base, and really see, like, if a specific, set of code ends up in Chinese hands and there's, a bracket or two off, you should probably be able to triangulate where that's coming from. But I think that there's some version of internal auditing that's required to be able to.
Yeah, I don't think the government's actually equipped to handle it.
No, it's a company level. Yeah, it's the company level. Yeah.
But can you imagine, like,
that's a new war.
Yeah.
Right? Deepseek was a missile.
Yeah.
That's what I said on the last pod. I was like, Deepseek was the missile.
Right. And Sam Altman is that's the crazy thing, is Deepseek is a missile, but it's not, your espionage is not policed by the CIA. It's by fucking OpenAI and their HR policy. What? I can't even wrap my head around that. Like you said, starting a Monday morning and you're like, who's the fucking Chinese mole? Like, I don't know, this person didn't put an emoji response to my all Slack. What the fuck?
You have to imagine every Monday morning in these trillion-dollar companies, they have to be monitoring, like, what's going on.
Yeah, and I also wonder, like, what does someone like Zuck do to, like, does he have like an inner circle where the most sensitive information is discussed? That's a very trusted, I would imagine, like, you'd have to police who knows the most up-to-date cutting-edge information. Because also, not to mention all the money that he's putting into, VR and all of those things. Like, you can't have that stolen either.
At this point, big tech is equivalent to the presidency. Every day the president gets a briefing of like confidential stuff that the CIA sends, and so he can wrap his head around of like how to deal with foreign policy.
Right.
I gotta imagine big tech, if they haven't done it, they better be doing it, because it's the same threat.
Right.
You know what I think is really scary that it seems like our sort of near peer adversaries have figured out is that the Mag 7 probably constitutes like an extremely significant part of the majority of Americans' retirement savings.
Yeah.
Like if you think about 401ks.
Yeah, it's like 40% of the S&P.
Right.
Yeah. And so they've realized that as much as you can disrupt that, like you can create real sort of like disharmony in the American public and like make people really uncomfortable and put people really on edge just by fucking with these companies.
That's true. That's a good point.
And so it seems like there's the world of the Chinas, the North Koreas, the Irans, et cetera, are increasingly figuring out, hey, if we can just create a little bit of like, fear amongst these big names, that actually does much more damage directly to the American economy and the American way of life than anything that we could do that would take way more effort, way more assets, all of this stuff. If we can just fuck with these 7 companies, we can make life in America pretty miserable.
That's a very good point. And also even more to the case of what we were just talking about, which is like, so those 7 companies need to be protected.
Yeah.
With all of it's just wild, because then I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck's really going on. But when you hear that like the government relationship with them is kind of rocky,
Yeah.
Like it's not,
but then
or it was.
But the average person also hates the fact if the government were to start protecting these big 7 companies, all of a sudden the average person's like, oh, this is an oligopoly, and look at
look at how mad everyone got. Not everyone, but especially the left got at the inauguration lineup.
With Satya and all the people on stage, they were super upset with that, and they were like, oh, this is ushering in, a USSR style, type of capitalism, and like it.
And they weren't wrong.
Yeah, but they weren't wrong, but it is necessary to a certain extent because so much of our livelihood is.
Because that's my question on it as the resident lefty is like, how do you parse out that they need protection, but not whatever you want to call it, to be untouchable,
over prioritizing?
Yeah. So no, I mean, I've said this for years on this podcast that I think it's ridiculous they investigate Facebook and let TikTok run in the US.
Right.
That's a competitor to an American-born company, and TikTok should have been banned 4 years ago. I mean, when it launched during COVID, 19, 20, something like that, I kept saying, I was like, are they really letting this run?
Yeah.
And it was clearly a competitor to an American company, which is Instagram, Facebook, Reels, whatever. They obviously launched that after. They should have banned it years ago.
I know, but my point is like, shouldn't they also not only be suing and looking into Facebook, but like helping to be sure that there's not a ByteDance mole in the senior levels of Meta?
Yeah, I actually wonder, obviously we're not in those rooms, like his Monday morning meeting, is he asking like, who's the mole?
Yeah, that's my question. And I also think about being Zuck or any of these guys. And especially the last 4 years, you felt like you were adversarial with our own government as well as China. Like they didn't have a friend in either.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Facebook had to deal with America and he had to deal with China, and that wasn't right. And I think
they all did though. Google,
America and America just let China just come in. And I mean, I know we get a lot of clips on TikTok, but it should absolutely be banned.
Right. But that's my question is how do you, what's your dream relationship that it's not adversarial? We are able to protect them and take it serious that it's such a national security threat, these companies, but also not be too much.
I think you have to do the same thing that they do to us. Facebook, Google, they're not allowed in China.
No, my assessment of it is that you actually need like a 3-letter agency, like the SEC or the ATF or the IRS or something like this, that is policing big tech and that allows for whistleblowers to be compensated for finding these moles, basically. So it's like it's an oversight industry into big tech where basically like if you're I don't know if people know this about the SEC, but if you find somebody who's been insider trading or avoiding taxes or something like this and you whistleblow them,
there's a bounty.
You get a part of the amount of money that
I think it's pretty high.
It is
super high.
It is.
I think it's like 30%.
There's people that have gotten paid hundreds of millions of dollars for this.
Yeah.
And so there needs to be like some sort of federal task force where you can basically go in and be like, yo, my guy on my floor is making some weird phone calls to China at, in the afternoon, right after we ship code. We should take a look at that. And there has to be somebody who takes a look at that.
Because don't most of these big companies have like ex-FBI people working there?
On their cybersecurity teams, a lot of their cybersecurity teams are people who have been in and around these like weird government programs that like employ black and white hat hackers to look into security vulnerabilities.
It's just weird that keep going.
Well, there just needs to be like some like federal oversight into this where it's like, okay, we found the guy. Here's your bounty. We're locking him up or immediately deporting him, taking all of his hard drives. And like there's not that, and there probably should be as these companies become more and more important to our retirements.
But don't you think it's worrisome that we hear a handful of people that get busted, but it's like a handful?
which leads you to believe that there's a lot more like slipping through the cracks.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
That we hear like 5-6 people. Twitter, there was like a Saudi thing that was leaking stuff to the government, and I honestly don't even know if anyone on Facebook has been arrested. Don't know, but it's the biggest freaking tech company that has social media and everything. I don't know.
Even Apple and stuff too. It's like
Apple, Amazon.
It's just crazy.
We're not at the velocity that we need to be correcting to what we're talking about, which is national security.
Yeah, I can't imagine being a, essentially Mag 7 or big tech CEO. I can't imagine like having China and all these, like I said, foreign governments, mainly China, that really matters, and our own government. Once again, now it's changing a little bit, but like, how do you operate with like everyone as your enemy, including your own government?
Yeah,
that's wild.
And sucks, boy. You watched UFC yesterday?
Yeah,
Israel Adesanya got smoked.
Got smoked. Sad. It was a sad day.
Was he was a heavy favorite from what I saw from the gambling perspective.
Yeah. He should not have lost that by any means. It was bad.
And there was, it was like such an ego thing because he got poked in the eye. Yeah. The ref was like, okay, we should stop this for a second.
Yep.
And then he was like, no, I don't want to stop this. And 2 seconds after he gets poked in the eye, he gets knocked out on the same side that I got poked.
Yeah. It was bad. It was like it was almost weird that he was fighting. Like that wasn't a pay-per-view. That's his first
It was early. It was early in the day.
It's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. It was his first non-title fight since like 2018. It was like almost kind of a joke. Like, oh, okay, he's going to go down and fight this guy just to get his bearings back. And then he'll be, but then he lost to the guy. It's just like, what? Like, it's like,
it's a tough sport.
Okay. Do you want to
You got to like leave on top.
What do you say?
It's like you got to do the Khabib thing and leave on top. You can't just keep chasing that dragon.
I think it's so hard.
You already have Zuck's bank account. What do you care?
I think it's just hard. It's a tough career choice, because
was Zuck there?
No.
Zuck's got a lot on his plate right now.
Yeah.
Zach, you're a defense tech expert. What's going on?
So I think that the new meta, and meta stands for most efficient tactic available, I guess, is basically attritable autonomous systems. And this is probably somewhat intuitive to most people who are, aware of tech. But what's happening is all of the platforms that are being used on the defense side of things will be run by AI. There'll be a human in the loop, but it'll be effectively one human controlling 50 different assets. So that could be drones, that could be ground vehicles, that could be, boats. And you'll use a software platform, and you will be able to control a wide variety of different assets and task them to do specific things that you need them to do without in areas where humans were, putting their lives on the line. So things like mine clearing, things like, forward reconnaissance, stuff like this will all be done with effectively robots that are controlled by sort of like an autonomous layer. Hopefully I think that the net benefit is outside of it being, a lot of people think that it's scary and, what if they turn on us, that sort of thing. If you can kind of get over that hump, I think it's actually great for the warfighter, just because there are like a lot of really shitty and dangerous jobs in the Army and the Navy and the Air Force that effectively, if it was in the best case scenario, you probably wouldn't want a human to go do it. And so if you can just have robots go do it and you don't care if they get blown up and you can build tons of them more, that's kind of the best case scenario. Right. So that's what's happening.
How's the government interacting with these defense tech companies? Are they friendly or are they adversarial?
So the new appointment for SecDef, Pete Hegseth,
very controversial.
He's a controversial figure, but in the narrow scope of defense tech, I think that the big problem historically has been the large defense primes. So Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, et cetera. They would never have to compete for their contracts. So they would lobby. a new contract would come out, a program of record would come out and basically say, we need, here's $30 billion for boats. We're just going to give it to Raytheon because we've worked with Raytheon in the past. We know that they can do it. There's never any competition, which made it so that if you were a newcomer, you basically had effectively zero chance of ever winning these contracts. And so what Pete Hegseth is doing is making it a competitive landscape again. So now the Andurils, Saronics of the world can go and compete with the big primes in areas where they never had to compete before, which is great and much more democratic and probably benefit to the taxpayer as well, because a lot of these new startups are actually operating in a way that's much cheaper and much more efficient than sort of the old primes. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I love the action, man. It's just, what are we, 3 weeks in? How long are we in? 2 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah, January 20th.
It's just nonstop action. Yeah. Okay. Is that it?
Crypto's down, market's down.
Well, listen, I'm just saying I like the action. I'm not exactly saying any more than that at the moment.
I think I miss Sleepy.
No, don't say
I think
that. Imagine.
I also think that.
Well, go ahead, Zach. Go.
My unsolicited advice is, if you're like seriously a long-term investor, things like the Deepseek spike down, things like this tariff volatility, I think it's all going to be inconsequential over a long enough time horizon.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you have liquidity, not financial advice, you should think about picking up some of your favorite stuff and the things that you really believe in, because I don't think that this matters in the really long term.
Yeah.
And I think that this is much more oriented towards people worried about the short term. So,
right.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, even the crypto correction over the last 24 hours is inconsequential.
Yeah, whenever that happens, I just delete my stock app, whatever on my phone, so I don't see it. I just would rather not look at it. I'm gonna hodl.
There's no point.
Yeah, but I'd rather not see it.
I think the reason to have it is there's like, these are the times when the market is especially inefficient,
right? When
there's like this real uncertainty around news and stuff. And so you can actually pick stuff up. I mean, like, I bought some Nvidia when the DeepSeek stuff came out.
Right.
I don't think people are going to be buying less chips. There's areas of opportunity to, like, there's these moments in time where you can make a ton of money, but they're very short, and you have to be like sort of a deep believer in the outcome.
Right.
So
totally agree. Okay, that's it. Shout outs. Who wants to do the shout outs?
Got YouTube comments?
How about that rug pull?
Yeah, Brennan Ruiz, 7627. How about that rug pull? Oh yeah, we did get smoked, huh?
Yeah, we did.
What happened?
And I blame D. Yeah, I think D was the problem.
What did he do?
Last episode, he told everyone, don't buy.
Right.
This is nonsense. It's a shit coin.
Well, I kind of did that too, but I thought what kind
of confidence do you think you're going to get?
I mean, everyone
it's not even about the confidence in the coin necessarily. It's the dynamics of why people actually invest in meme coin, quote unquote, trade meme coins, which is momentum. Like, all of these meme coin plays are pure momentum based on sort of like mimetic inference from Twitter and stuff, and like whatever's behind the project. And so the second that people stop believing that one of these tokens has lost their momentum, their positive forward cultural momentum in whatever small community that they play in, they just die. Yeah. And that's what happens every time.
And I blame D.
Did Mark?
I trade a lot of meme coins, and so I'd be happy to opine on whatever you guys want.
We should do a meme coin lesson, because I'd love to learn. Well, either way,
I mean, we're still alive.
We're still alive. I'm sure we'll have another spike again. But hey, we tried to pump it and we got smoked.
No, we didn't pump it. We told everyone to. D told everyone to sell.
Well, I mean, but we did an episode about it where we tried to, talk about how we had we were going to come up with cool plans for the future. It was actually a really dumb. It was a dumb segment. It should have just not have existed. Well, we learned our lesson, because now we're at zero. Okay, Liamstagram says, my favorite podcast at the moment. Thank you for the laughs and insights. Thank you, Liamstagram. Shout outs from Amanda. Hi. My husband, Anand Murthy, I realize has been singing a very wrong and made up version of Twinkle Twinkle. Realized when we both did the bedtime routine at the same time, when we usually split putting the kids down. Blown away. There is literally not a line that is accurate except Twinkle Twinkle. His first reply was, no chance Drama knows Twinkle. Not sure why Drama or why someone without a kid is his first reference in defense, but gonna put this here for my shout out. Love you, babe. Pretty sure Drama can do it. My daughter's reply, who is 3, said, Daddy, I'll teach you. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are up above the world so bright. No.
Like a diamond in the sky.
Is that what it is? Was I close?
You're very, very
You
close.
didn't know it? You were saying all the wrong words?
The point is, anyone who has a young kid, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I see.
You just try to get them to go to sleep. So I just make up shit and I just say things.
I think Amanda would disagree. I think
songs.
Amanda says it does matter. And now you're going to brainwash your kids. Probably the only reason I know it is from when it was sung to me. And now imagine if I just had all the wrong words because my dad just made up words.
Yeah, like who's reading a full book? You skip pages.
That's going to come back to haunt you somehow. Okay, from Corey. Shout out to my co-founder, Zach. We're starting a platform called Unrepped. Oh yeah, Unrepped, for brands to easily find and book models while letting everyday people get paid to be in photo shoots. He's the tech side, and I would have never taken the leap to start it without him. Stoked to have an amazing partner in this new venture and can't wait to crush it. From Daniel. Okay, shout out to Zach.
It's nice.
Wait, why does it say? Oh, sorry. That was from Corey. From Daniel, shout out to Kathy Coyne. Rest in peace.
Don't listen to D.
We had a good run. Okay, that's it. We got it. Anything we missed?
No, we're all
okay,
good.
Everybody have a good week. Stay strong. You know, there might be some market volatility. You're going to be all right, I think. Not financial advice. And, you know, we got a hot week of news and tariffs and a lot of stuff going on. So we'll see you on Wednesday.
Peace.